The space station Nova Gate was full of life. Traders, soldiers, and travelers from hundreds of worlds walked through its bright halls every day. It was known as the safest place in the galaxy. Humans and aliens worked together there, but one rule was never broken. No one was allowed inside the small black laboratory at the end of Sector 9. Even the station guards stayed away from that room. People whispered that humans kept something inside that could change the future of the galaxy. No one knew the truth, and no one was brave enough to ask. Lyra was a young alien girl from the peaceful planet Elira. She loved learning about humans because they always surprised her. Humans laughed in danger, smiled during hard times, and created strange things that no other race could understand. That morning, Lyra was visiting Nova Gate for the first time. She carried a small notebook and wrote down everything she saw. She wanted to tell her family that humans were not as scary as the stories said. She believed most of the galaxy misunderstood them. While exploring the station, Lyra noticed a service door that had been left slightly open. A cold blue light came from inside. She looked around, but no guards were nearby. Her curiosity became stronger than her fear. She slowly stepped through the door and found herself inside a quiet laboratory. Strange machines covered the walls. Glass tubes glowed with soft light. In the center of the room sat a small, silver bottle filled with a bright blue liquid. It looked clean, fresh, and almost beautiful. Lyra smiled as she picked up the bottle. The liquid sparkled like a sweet fruit drink from her home planet. A small warning label was written in human language, but she could not read it. She laughed softly. Humans always make their drinks look so serious, she whispered to herself. Without thinking twice, she removed the cap. At that exact moment, the laboratory door opened. A human scientist walked inside and froze. His face turned white as he saw the bottle in her hand. The scientist dropped the tablet he was carrying. The loud sound echoed across the room. "Stop," he shouted with all his strength. "Don't drink that." His voice was filled with fear, not anger. More human soldiers rushed into the laboratory. Every one of them looked terrified. None of them reached for their weapons. Instead, they all stared at the small bottle as if it were more dangerous than any enemy fleet. Lyra looked at them with confusion. She did not understand why everyone was panicking over a simple drink. Before anyone could reach her, Lyra took one small sip. The room became completely silent. No one moved. No one even breathed. The scientist slowly closed his eyes, expecting the worst. One soldier quietly whispered, "It's over." Another pressed the emergency alarm. Red warning lights flashed across the laboratory. A cold robotic voice echoed through the station. "Level Omega emergency. Secure all sectors immediately." Outside the lab, people began running without knowing what had happened. For several long seconds, nothing changed. Lyra blinked and smiled. "It tastes sweet," she said. "Why were you all so worried?" The humans did not answer. They kept watching her with fear in their eyes. Then the lights above the room flickered. Every machine suddenly came to life. Blue energy flowed across the walls like lightning. The floor shook beneath everyone's feet. The bottle in Lyra's hand cracked into tiny pieces without anyone touching it. A strange glow slowly appeared around Lyra's body. Her eyes shined with the same blue light as the liquid she had just drunk. She looked at her hands in shock. Tiny sparks danced across her skin. The laboratory computers began speaking all at once. "Warning," they repeated. "War formula activated. Unknown life form detected. Emergency protocol failed." The scientist stared at the screen with disbelief. His hands were shaking. He whispered words that no one expected to hear. The blue light around Lyra grew brighter every second. She could feel a strange warmth moving through her body, but there was no pain. The human soldiers stepped back instead of moving closer. Their captain raised his hand and ordered everyone to stay calm. No one was allowed to touch her. The scientist kept staring at his screen, hoping it was showing the wrong information. But every result was the same. The impossible had already happened. Lyra looked at the frightened humans with confusion. "What is happening to me?" she asked in a soft voice. No one answered for a moment. Finally, The old scientist took a deep breath. "That was not a drink," he said. "It was the human war formula." Lyra did not understand those words. To her, it had tasted like sweet fruit juice. She could not believe that one small sip had caused the entire station to lock down. The scientist slowly explained that the war formula was never meant for aliens. It was created many years ago during humanity's darkest war. When powerful alien empires attacked Earth, humans were losing every battle. They needed something that could make soldiers stronger, faster, and smarter. After years of secret research, they created the war formula. But the experiment was too dangerous. Most human volunteers could not survive it. The project was hidden forever, and only a few trusted people knew it still existed. Suddenly, every computer inside the laboratory shut down at the same time. A loud pulse of blue energy exploded from Lyra's body. The windows shook, and sparks filled the air. Outside the station, several communication satellites suddenly stopped working. Deep in space, military sensors detected an unknown energy signal that had never appeared before. Within seconds, the signal spread across the galaxy. Hidden fleets and secret listening stations all received the same warning. Far away, inside the Galactic Council's capital, a massive holographic map suddenly turned bright blue. Every council member looked at the screen in silence. An old alien general stood up from his chair with fear on his face. He had seen that energy only once before, during the Great Human War many years ago. "Impossible," he whispered. "The human war formula has been activated again." The entire council chamber became silent as everyone realized what that could mean. Back on Nova Gate, Lyra suddenly closed her eyes. Strange memories flashed through her mind. She saw giant battleships burning in space. She saw human soldiers standing against impossible enemies. She heard voices speaking in a language she had never learned, yet somehow she understood every word. It felt as if someone else's memories were becoming part of her own. She quickly opened her eyes, breathing heavily. "Why can I see human memories?" she asked. The scientist's face became even paler. He slowly looked at the captain and shook his head. "The formula is not changing her body," he whispered. "It is choosing her." Before anyone could ask what he meant, the station's main alarm changed. A cold robotic voice echoed through every hallway. "Unknown warship detected. One hostile fleet entering Nova Gate space." The captain looked out of the giant window, and his heart nearly stopped. Hundreds of black warships had appeared from hyperspace, and every weapon on those ships was pointed directly at the station. The giant black warships slowly surrounded Nova Gate from every direction. Their weapons locked onto the station, but they did not fire. Inside the command room, every human officer watched the main screen in silence. Captain Ryan knew this fleet was not here to destroy the station. They had come for only one person. His eyes turned toward Lyra, who was still glowing with blue energy. She looked scared and confused, but deep inside, she could feel a strange power waking up. A message suddenly appeared on every screen inside the station. The face of an old alien commander filled the display. His voice was calm, but everyone could hear the fear behind it. "Humans," he said, "hand over the girl immediately. She has activated the war formula. If she leaves this station alive, the galaxy will fall into chaos." The room became quiet. Lyra looked at the captain. She could not understand why complete strangers were so afraid of her. Captain Ryan stepped toward the communication screen without showing any fear. "She is under human protection," he answered firmly. "She is our guest, and we do not abandon our guests." The alien commander shook his head slowly. "You still follow the old human code," he replied. "That code is exactly why every empire fears your species." His words surprised many young soldiers. They had never heard an enemy speak about humans with such respect. The old scientist asked Lyra to sit near one of the laboratory scanners. The machine examined her body from head to toe. Everyone expected to see dangerous changes, but the results shocked them. The war formula was not harming her. Instead, it was repairing every weak cell inside her body. It was making her stronger with perfect balance. The scientist whispered, "This should be impossible." Even humans could never fully control the formula. As the scan continued, Lyra suddenly placed her hand on the machine. Bright blue symbols appeared across the screen. She had never seen those symbols before, but somehow she understood them. Without thinking, she pressed several glowing buttons. The laboratory computers instantly came back online. Locked systems opened by themselves. Hidden military files appeared on every monitor. The scientist stared at the screen in complete disbelief. "She can control human technology," he whispered. Far outside the station, the enemy fleet also noticed the sudden change. Their sensors detected a new energy wave spreading across space. Several warships suddenly lost power for a few seconds. Their commanders immediately ordered the fleet to move back. The old alien leader looked nervous for the first time. "She is connecting to the human war network," he said. "If the connection becomes complete, no fleet in this galaxy will be able to stop her." Inside Lyra's mind, more strange memories appeared. This time she saw a human soldier standing alone against thousands of enemy ships. She saw Earth burning, but humans refused to surrender. She heard one sentence again and again. "Strength is not used to rule the weak. Strength is used to protect them." The words filled her heart with courage. She slowly opened her eyes, and the blue light around her became brighter than ever before. Before anyone could speak, the station shook with a powerful explosion. One of the black warships had fired a warning shot. Red emergency lights flashed across every hallway. Captain Ryan looked out of the window and tightened his fists. Hundreds of enemy fighters were now flying toward Nova Gate. The alien commander gave his final warning. "This is your last chance. Give us the girl, or prepare for war." The first enemy fighters rushed toward Nova Gate like a dark storm. Warning sirens echoed across every hallway as station shields came online. Human pilots jumped into their fighters without hesitation. Captain Ryan watched the enemy fleet through the command window. His officers waited for orders, but no fear could be seen on their faces. Every human in the room knew the battle had already begun, and there was no turning back. The alien commander gave one final command. Hundreds of enemy ships opened fire at the station's outer shield. Bright explosions covered the sky, making space shine like daylight. The station shook again and again, but the shield refused to fall. Human engineers worked together without stopping. Every damaged system was repaired within seconds. Lyra watched them in surprise. She had never seen people stay so calm while facing death. Captain Ryan finally spoke into the station's communication system. "Protect every civilian first," he ordered. "No one gets left behind." His words reached every soldier and pilot. Not one of them questioned the order. Some fighters stayed behind only to help evacuation ships escape safely. Lyra realized something important. Humans did not fight because they loved war. They fought because they wanted others to live. Suddenly, another wave of blue energy burst from Lyra's body. Every screen inside the command room changed at once. Hidden defense satellites around Nova Gate woke up after years of silence. Ancient human weapons slowly turned toward the enemy fleet. The scientist stared at the display with wide eyes. "These systems have been asleep for 50 years, he whispered. "Only the war formula can activate them." Outside the station, powerful laser beams shot across space. Several enemy battleships lost their shields in seconds. The alien fleet quickly moved backward, shocked by the unexpected attack. Their commander slammed his fist onto his control panel. "Impossible," he shouted. "Those defense satellites were destroyed long ago." But they had never been destroyed. Humans had secretly hidden them, waiting for the day they might be needed again. Lyra suddenly fell to one knee as another vision filled her mind. She saw the first creator of the war formula, standing inside an old laboratory on Earth. The scientist looked directly at her, even though the memory was centuries old. "If you can hear my voice," he said, "then the formula has chosen the right heart. Real strength belongs only to those who protect others." The vision disappeared, but his words remained clear in her mind. The old scientist standing beside Lyra finally understood the truth. "The formula never chose the strongest body," he said quietly. "It always searched for the kindest heart." Captain Ryan looked at Lyra and smiled for the first time. "That is why it accepted you," he said. Lyra's fear slowly disappeared. She stood up, and the blue light around her became brighter than ever before. Just then, every light inside the command room went dark for 1 second. When they came back on, a massive object appeared on the main screen. It was far bigger than any warship in the enemy fleet. The scientist's face turned pale. Captain Ryan stopped smiling. The alien commander also looked terrified. A single message appeared across every monitor. The Supreme Galactic Dreadnought slowly moved toward Nova Gate. It was so large that it covered the stars behind it. Every soldier on the station stared at the giant ship in silence. The enemy fleet stopped firing and moved aside with respect. Even their commanders looked nervous. Captain Ryan understood what that meant. If the dreadnought attacked, the battle would end in minutes. A deep voice suddenly echoed across every communication channel. "Human captain," it said, "hand over the girl, and your people will live." The voice belonged to the Supreme Commander of the Galactic Empire. He had defeated hundreds of worlds and had never lost a war. Captain Ryan looked at Lyra for a moment before answering. Then he spoke with complete confidence. "Humans do not trade innocent lives for safety. If you want her, you will have to come through us first." Lyra's eyes filled with tears as she listened to the captain's words. She had known these humans for only a short time, yet they were ready to risk everything for her. At that moment, she finally understood the message inside the war formula. It was never created to make someone stronger than others. It was created to protect those who could not protect themselves. That was the true reason humans had become so respected across the galaxy. The blue energy around Lyra became brighter than ever before. She slowly floated above the floor as every hidden defense system in Nova Gate came online. Ancient human satellites, forgotten warships, and secret drones answered her call. Thousands of lights appeared across space. The enemy fleet watched in complete shock. They had believed humanity's old weapons were gone forever. Instead, they had been waiting silently for the right person. The Supreme Commander ordered the dreadnought to fire its main cannon. A giant beam of red energy raced toward Nova Gate. Before it could hit the station, Lyra raised one hand. A bright blue shield appeared in front of the station. The two powerful energies crashed together, lighting up the darkness of space. For several seconds, the entire galaxy seemed to stand still. Then the red beam disappeared, leaving the station completely unharmed. Silence filled every ship on the battlefield. The enemy commander looked at his screen in disbelief. No one had ever stopped the dreadnought's main weapon before. The old scientist smiled quietly. "Now I understand," he said. "The war formula did not choose the strongest warrior. It chose the person with the strongest heart." Even Captain Ryan lowered his head with respect as he watched Lyra protect thousands of lives without attacking anyone. The Supreme Commander slowly stood from his chair. For the first time in many years, he gave the order to retreat. One by one, the black warships turned away from Nova Gate and disappeared into hyperspace. The battle was over without a final shot. Lyra gently landed on the floor, and the blue light around her slowly faded. She was still the same kind young girl, but now the entire galaxy knew her name. From that day forward, every civilization remembered one important lesson. Humanity's greatest weapon was never the war formula. It was the courage to protect others, no matter the cost.